What I'm about to tell you is going to flip everything you thought you knew right on its head. You hear me? So Michael, he looks Carlo straight in the eyes and he says, "Don't be afraid, Carlo. Come on, you think I'd make my sister a widow? I'm godfather to your son, Carlo." Now, most people, they watch this scene and they think they got it all figured out. They sit there on their couches eating their popcorn thinking it's simple revenge, right? One brother gets whacked, so the other brother's got to pay. An eye for an eye, like it says in the good book. But let me tell you something, and you better listen close because this is where it gets interesting. That ain't why Carlo dies. Not even close. Yeah, he got punished, but not for Sonny. Not really. What he got punished for was something way more dangerous, something that once you understand it, the whole thing makes perfect sense in a twisted kind of way. And here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. Once you really get this distinction, once you really understand what I'm about to explain to you, you're going to realize that Michael didn't just decide to kill Carlo like he had some kind of choice in the matter. The truth is, he had no choice whatsoever. None. Zero. Michael whacking Carlo, it ain't about being heartbroken or getting even. It's about mathematics. Cold, ice cold, brutal, strategic mathematics. And when I tell you this, I ain't being dramatic or exaggerating for effect. What Michael does in this moment, it ain't emotional at all. It's necessary, plain and simple. It's like 2 + 2 = 4. There ain't no other answer. Let me break it down for you so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. First thing you got to understand is what Carlo actually did, the real crime here. Yeah, sure, he set up Sonny. He made that phone call that got him killed at that causeway, turned him into Swiss cheese. But here's what you're missing. That ain't really the crime Michael's punishing him for. You follow me? Pay attention to what Michael focuses on during that conversation at the beginning. It ain't just about Sonny getting killed. It's about the betrayal of Connie, the abuse he put her through, the manipulation, the way this scumbag used his position inside the family, his access to become a goddamn asset for the enemy. And this right here, this is the key to the whole thing. By betraying Connie, Carlo proved something way more dangerous than just being disloyal. He proved that he could be turned, that he was for sale. He showed everybody that when the price was right, when somebody dangled the right carrot in front of his face, he'd choose outsiders over his own blood. And in the world that Michael's about to take over and rule with an iron fist, that ain't the kind of sin you forgive and forget. That's the kind of thing that gets you killed, no questions asked. Now, maybe you're sitting there thinking, why not just send him away? Exile the guy, let him breathe. He's the father of Michael's godson, for crying out loud. Yeah, Michael even says it himself. Carlo, you're out of the family business. That's your punishment. I'm putting you on a plane to Vegas. And for just a moment, just a tiny sliver of time, it looks like maybe, just maybe, there's going to be some mercy here. He lets Carlo think he's safe, lets him relax, lets him confess everything, and then lets him walk straight into his own execution like a lamb to the slaughter. But here's the thing that most people completely miss, and this is crucial. If Michael lets Carlo walk away breathing, what kind of message does that send? Think about it for a second. If Carlo survives this, what does that tell every single soldier, every capo, every enemy family that's watching the Corleones right now? I'll tell you exactly what it tells them. It tells them that if you marry into the family, you got yourself some kind of immunity. It tells them that blood relation, even if it's just through marriage, protects you from the consequences of your actions. And that right there, that's a weakness that Michael absolutely cannot afford. Not now, not when he's trying to consolidate power, not when every single rival family out there is watching like vultures to see what kind of Don he's going to turn out to be. Will he be strong like his father, or will he be weak? But wait, there's more. There's another reason Carlo's got to die, and this one's even more practical than just setting a precedent for everybody else. Carlo knows too much, way too much. This guy's been inside the family for years now. He's seen how they operate, how they think, how they move. He knows names, faces, connections, safe houses, who does what. And here's the kicker. He's already proven that he'll trade information for personal gain. When he sold out Sonny, he showed his cards. Listen to how Michael lists the dead: Barzini, Tattaglia, Strachey, Cuneo, even Mo Green. He ain't just naming names to hear himself talk. He's isolating Carlo psychologically, showing him and showing us that every single person who could have protected Carlo is now 6 feet under. The men Carlo sold information to, dead. All of them. But here's the thing. There's always going to be new buyers, new enemies, new families rising up to challenge the Corleones. There's always somebody looking for an edge. And Carlo, desperate, disgraced, kicked out of the family, he'd be exactly the kind of asset they'd pay top dollar for. You see what I'm saying? Exile ain't enough. Not even close. A man who's already chosen outsiders over blood once, he's going to do it again when his survival depends on it. Carlo could trade everything he knows for protection, for money, for a whole new life somewhere far away. And Michael, he knows this. He ain't stupid. He's thinking 5 steps ahead. Don't tell me you're innocent, Carlo. Admit what you did. Michael needs that confession, but not just for certainty, not just to make sure he got the right guy. He needs it to confirm that Carlo is exactly the kind of man who cannot be allowed to exist outside of Michael's control. A loose end, a variable that can't be controlled. Now, who approached you? Tattaglia or Barzini? And this right here, this is where Michael's genius becomes absolutely terrifying. At first, when you watch this scene, it seems like this is the question Michael's been building toward the whole time, the big reveal. But the thing is, what really mattered was never the question itself, it was the answer. Because hidden inside that simple question is one of the greatest traps Michael ever sets in the entire film. You see it? Only a guilty man, only someone who was actually there, who actually made the deal, would know the correct answer is Barzini. Throughout the whole story, Tattaglia is the public enemy. His name's in all the newspapers. He's the family everyone thinks they're fighting. He's the obvious answer. But Barzini's role as the puppet master pulling all the strings, that was shadow knowledge, information that wasn't common. Even Vito himself wasn't completely certain about it until late in the game, until he put all the pieces together at that meeting. So when Michael asked that question, he ain't just fishing for a confession. He's setting a test. Because the answer itself, the specific name Carlo gives, that's going to be the proof he needs. It was Barzini. Just watch Michael's face right after Carlo says this. He pauses. Everything stops. He goes completely still for 3, maybe 4 seconds, just freezes. The trap has worked perfectly. Carlo just condemned himself with a single word. He didn't even realize what he just did. That's beautiful in a sick kind of way. Now let's consider the practical side of Sonny's death. As long as Carlo's still walking around, breathing, eating, sleeping, Sonny's murder stays an open wound. There's a debt that ain't been paid, a score that ain't been settled. And in the world of the mafia and the life these guys live, unsettled debts are like invitations for chaos. They're weaknesses that other families can exploit. Get him a drink. Watch how Michael performs this moment. It's like theater. The drink, it's a callback to his father's kindness with Bonacera at the very beginning of the film, remember? But the difference is, unlike Vito's genuine gesture of respect and hospitality, Michael's drink is just a prop. It's a tool. It's a way to make Carlo feel safe enough, relaxed enough to confess everything. It's manipulation at its finest. Michael kills Carlo to close the last loose end of Sonny's death. Not because revenge demands it, not because he's sitting around crying about his brother, but because completion demands it. Every single other enemy who was involved in that hit is already dead. Leaving Carlo alive would mean the job's unfinished. And Michael Corleone, he don't leave jobs unfinished. That ain't how he operates. But maybe, just maybe, the most important reason Carlo's gotta die is what his death represents for Michael's new reign. What it says about the kind of leader he's going to be. Only Don't tell me you're innocent because it insults my intelligence. It makes me very angry. This right here is the only moment in the entire scene where Michael shows anything even close to emotion. And even then, even in this moment, it's controlled. It's measured. It's named rather than expressed. It's calculated anger, not real anger. Because this whole scene ain't about Michael's feelings. It's about establishing who he is now, what he's capable of doing, and why crossing him is going to cost you everything, including your life. Before this moment, people might have been wondering, is Michael really ready to lead? Is he going to be soft like they think? Will he negotiate when he should act? Will he show mercy when he should show strength? Carlo's death answers every single one of those questions with absolute clarity. Michael is not a negotiator. He is absolute. He is final. What he says goes, and if you cross him, you die. Simple as that. And this brings us to the final reason, the most chilling reason of all, why Carlo had to die. This specific act marks the exact moment when Michael stops reacting to things and starts eliminating variables before they become problems. You see the difference? Think about Michael's whole journey through this film. He starts out as a decorated war hero, a guy who wants absolutely nothing to do with the family business. He enters it reluctantly, only to protect his father from getting killed. He kills Solozzo and McCluskey in what feels like desperation, a reactive move made in the heat of the moment to save his family from destruction. But by the time we get to Carlo's death, something fundamental inside Michael has changed completely. He's different now, colder. Throughout the scene with Carlo, Michael leans heavy on family bonds to manipulate him. He invokes his role as godfather to Carlo's son. He brings up his connection to Connie. He talks about the sacred bonds of blood that tie them together. But the second Carlo confesses, the second he admits what he did, watch how the language shifts. There's a car waiting for you outside. Take it to the airport. I'll call your wife. Tell her what flight you're on. He ain't saying my sister no more. Now she's your wife. That change, as small as it seems, it matters. It matters a lot. The family bond disappears the exact moment it ain't useful anymore. This is who Michael has become now. A man who uses family when it serves his purpose and discards it like garbage when it don't. Every single word that comes out of Michael's mouth in this moment is a lie. Every word. And Michael delivers these lies without a single flicker of hesitation, without a trace of guilt, because by this point in his transformation, lying is just another tool in his toolbox. It's just part of doing business. Finally, there's one detail about this whole thing that haunts me more than the actual death itself, more than anything else in the scene. In the books, we learn that Clemenza was Sonny's godfather. And it's Clemenza sitting in the back of that car, holding the garrote, the wire that's going to choke the life out of Carlo. You hear the crow calling outside, that death omen that's been foreshadowed from way back at the beginning, from the moment Michael stood in that doorway with half his face in shadow, half in light. And that death is carried out by the very same man who held Sonny at the baptismal font when he was just a baby. All those other enemies, Barzini, Tattaglia, Stracci, Cuneo, Mo Green, they were all killed at a distance. Gunshots from across the street, ambushes, professional hits, clean and impersonal. But for Carlo, Michael chooses something different, something personal, something close, something that requires hands around a throat, looking into a man's eyes as the life drains out of him. The debt gets paid by the proper hands, by family hands. At the end of the scene, Michael just walks away. Behind him, Carlo's dying, choking, kicking his legs, gasping for air that ain't coming. But Michael, he never looks back. Not once. There ain't a single emotion on his face. It's like nothing happened at all, like he just had a regular conversation and now he's going about his day. And I think that's the most chilling part of this whole thing. Because when you really sit down and analyze why Carlo had to die, when you really break it down piece by piece, you realize it was never really about Sonny. It was never about revenge or getting even or honor or any of that stuff. It was about building a world where Michael's authority is absolute and unquestionable, where betrayal has immediate and fatal consequences, where no one, not even family, not even the guy married to your sister, is safe from the cold mathematics of power. Carlo didn't die because Michael wanted him dead. Carlo died because Michael needed him dead. There's a difference. And somewhere between that baptism scene where Michael's renouncing Satan and becoming a godfather, and this walk away from Carlo's execution, the man who once believed he could stay out of the family business is gone forever. That man don't exist no more. He's been replaced by someone else entirely, someone colder, someone more dangerous, someone who understands that in this world, in this life, there ain't no room for weakness. So look, if you've made it this far, if you've stuck with me through this whole thing, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching and listening to what I got to say. If you enjoyed this breakdown, if it made you think about the film differently, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave a comment down below telling me what you think. Give it a like if you feel like it. Click that subscribe button. Your support, it really does help with the mysterious algorithm, helps other people find this stuff. And if you really want to support what I'm doing here directly, you can join the channel by clicking that join button. I'll see you next time. Now get out of here.